So this is part 2 of my labour and delivery story. In the first part I talked about signs of labour and basically what was happening in the weeks leading up to me going into labour. So in this video I'm going to talk it through with you, tell you what happened, and also I'm going to insert footage from the actual delivery room. Don't worry, you won't see the actual birth or anything like that, but yeah. So it was a Sunday. And I woke up with these pains. In my last video I talked about how I was getting these kind of cramps and pains in the weeks leading up to the labour, but this day was different because I was also getting Braxton Hicks and it was quite painful. So I was getting contractions and pains. So I went through the day and basically my husband ran me a bath in the afternoon and I tried that, but it was not helping at all. I was getting in and out and in and out, and I was going and sitting on the rocking chair and basically just trying to relieve the pain, but it wasn't working. So about 4 o'clock I got out and I decided I would go and lie down for a while and try and relieve it that way, because also, as I said before, lying down would sometimes make the Braxton Hicks or pain stop. So that didn't work. Then I got up and I went and I got the dinner started and I got Devon fed, and I said to Noel that what we'll do is we'll just go about our evening and we'll have our dinner, and if I still feel the same way then we can contact the hospital. So I had a shower, Noel had a shower, Devon was showered, went to bed. Noel and I had our dinner, and then it wasn't going away, it was still happening, so I decided to call the hospital. And when I called them and told them what was happening, they said, come straight in. And I was kind of, I said to them, oh, I don't really think I'm in labor, I was genuinely just worried about the baby being in distress, because as well, he had stopped moving. I hadn't felt him move all day basically, which was really unusual because he would move so much normally. So this might be the start of my labour and delivery vlog, but I'm not really sure because I don't know what's going on right now. What do you think? Well, we'll see. So we arrived in there after 11 o'clock at night, and the first thing they did was they put the trace on my belly so that they could monitor the baby's heartbeat or movements with my contractions. So sure enough, they saw the contractions were definitely happening there, but all of a sudden he started moving so much, and I was relieved and basically kind of laughing about it, saying he's making up for not moving all day long. But it was kind of a problem for them because they couldn't get what they call a baseline on the trace. So they said normally they would keep the trace on you for about 20 minutes, but I had the trace on me for about 2 hours or something, and then a doctor came in and the doctor said that basically because they couldn't get this baseline, they didn't know whether or not the baby was in distress. And obviously you don't want that happening because there could be meconium in the water then, and it could be a problem for the baby. So I was pretty nervous then. The doctor said that he reckoned that he should break my waters. So I was really nervous about that, and I was kind of asking him, but what if I'm not actually in labor and you break the waters? And he said, I'm ready to go, and he's pretty sure that there's going to be a baby in a few hours. So he said it was important, we needed to know that the waters were clear, so he went ahead and did that. The waters were fine, the contractions started intensifying after that. Okay, so I am in labor. My waters have been broken, and I'm on antibiotics now because of the GBS, and Noel has just popped out to the car to get my hospital bag so that I can get a nightie and I can start walking around to to try and progress the labor a bit. So it feels so crazy because the midwife, well, one of the midwives who's here with us today is actually the one who delivered Devon. And she has just come back from a holiday in Zambia where I grew up, and I just feel like things are just kind of like meant to be right now, and it's a good feeling. Okay, so I'm dressed in my sexy gear and I'm ready to go walking. We're going now, right? Yeah, because I was group B strep positive, I needed to be on antibiotics the whole time, and because I had this situation where I had too much amniotic fluid, the baby needed to be on a trace the whole time as well. So that meant that the amount of time that I could spend walking around or going into the bathroom or anything like that was just a minimum. So basically all I could do was be either on the bed or on the yoga ball or on the little stool that they have in the room. So initially what I did was I was just lying in the bed, and when they checked me after an hour, there had been no progress. So they said that they wanted to give me the oxytocin, and I really didn't want that to happen because I was given oxytocin the last time and everything happened really quickly after that. And I had wanted this time to be different. But obviously I said, okay, whatever we have to do. But then they came back into the room and they said, you know what, it's probably going to be too intense for you because I wasn't on any pain meds at that stage. I didn't have the epidural, so they said, we'll give it another hour and see how you go. If you don't progress, then we will give you the oxytocin. So I got up out of the bed and I think I went to the toilet, and then the pains were so intense after that. Then I went and I sat on the yoga ball and I was just bouncing on the yoga ball, and I started with the gas and air then. And it started getting pretty intense after that. So I was on the yoga ball for about between 3 and 4 hours, and it was getting more and more painful, and the midwife had asked me a few times if I wanted to get the epidural, and I said no, I was fine with the gas and air.
We should have done my makeup place before we came.
Then I did say to her that I think that I need to be checked again, because if I haven't progressed, I'm going to need to order the epidural because it was getting so painful, and if I wasn't nearly there, then I wasn't going to be able to cope, basically. So she checked me and I was between 5 and 6 centimeters at that stage. After I got up and, you know, was checked and everything, then it was so much more painful after that. And she had actually just left the room to pop out and get something, and I just turned around to Noel and grabbed him and was like, oh my god, get her to order that epidural now. So it was actually about an hour later than that when the anesthetist came in and administer the epidural. And I actually went through 2 contractions while he was giving me the epidural, and that was just insane, trying to stay still, because obviously you have to stay still when they're putting a needle into your spine.
Just get a good shot of that saying that you're not in labor.
I know. Yeah. So I got to 5 centimeters and then I gave up and I got the epidural. So the epidural is in now and it's a lot better. It's not fully kicked in yet, but it's definitely a lot better. Poor Noel, you're gonna fall asleep.
No,
You probably should try and fall asleep.
I didn't boost it myself the way that I did the last time, so I could still feel a lot. I wasn't in pain as such, you know, I could just feel what was going on, and it was a lot better than it was before I got the epidural. That's good. Was I could feel the contractions, and I hadn't wanted to get an epidural this time because the last time I couldn't feel anything during the pushing process, which made it so much harder to do, and Devin ended up being really distressed, and he wasn't happy when he came out, and I'm gonna get upset now, but it was very scary, and I blamed myself for that, for not being able to go do it naturally myself. So it was important to me that I tried as hard as I could this time before getting an epidural. So the really good thing about being able to feel stuff was that I knew when it was time to push. So I told the midwife, it was about an hour and a half later, I'm ready to push now. And so she checked me and I was 10 centimeters and I was ready to go. So in the actual pushing process as well, I could feel when there was a contraction coming, and I knew when to actually push, which I had no idea about the last time. I had to be told when to push and I didn't even know if I was pushing. And then the other thing was that because I could feel this and almost feel him, then I think that it made the whole thing a lot faster than it was the last time. So I started pushing at 5:30 in the morning, and at 6:47, so about 15 minutes later, he was born.
God, it looks like such shit. So it's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm about to start pushing, and I'm so tired. I'm just ready for this to happen now. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot of pressure, and we're just waiting for a few more contractions, and then I'm gonna start pushing 10 centimeters there. So it's done.
Go to
And he came out absolutely perfect. He was such a great color. He cried straight away. They put him straight on my chest. It was a totally different experience to the first time. The only thing was that I did have a postpartum hemorrhage, but I didn't even notice that because I had a baby in my arms, so that was fine. I did look like crap afterwards, well, during and afterwards, and I was pretty pale and stuff like that for a couple of days, like a good few days afterwards, but that didn't matter because I had a baby. So that is my labor and delivery story. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!